Today, as part of the Summer Games Fest 2021, it was Amazon's new MMO, New World, and its deep dive video. Now, I wasn't expecting very much from this. I'd already made a video about their monetization strategies and exactly what I thought of those. And yet, I like MMOs. I've put thousands of hours into some MMOs, mainly focusing on Rift as its primary one and a lot into Star Wars The Old Republic. So I was hopeful. I still had hope that they could make a good game, and I was just waiting for information. I kind of didn't expect it to be that good given their past performance on games, but I thought, what's the worst that can happen? You can make me disappointed. You can make me feel sad. You can be like, okay, I'll just write off the game. But I never expected you to make me angry. I never expected you to treat your customers like this, and I never expected you to treat them with no respect.
There's going to be a beta.
Sometimes the unconscious mind is a little bit more honest than we are with our words while at work. But you put that right at the end of the video, and I just thought, yeah, I'm just going to make a joke out of it. I'll make a joke out of the rest of the video, and, you know, it'll be there. And then you put it at the end, and now I've got to do this. So I'm sorry, but if my anger taints any of the rest of the video, honestly, I'm just not exactly sure how much of that is my fault. So let's get into it. So first up, they did the environment and lore, and this isn't a deal breaker for me. I played a lot of games with a lot of bad stories. As long as the gameplay's good, I'm fine with it, so I wasn't too bothered. Now, what they did give us was very cliche and generic, and to give you an example of that, this is exactly how they start with the main plot of the story. You crash on a boat on the island, and there is a growing threat of spreading corruption. There's various factions that are constantly fighting with each other for control of the island. As the corruption spreads, its evil leader hopes to take over the world and bring about an apocalypse. Only you can unite the tribes and stop him. Okay, Morrowind.
Where the central question is, what is the price of eternal life?
No, really. Okay, Morrowind. When you're so cliche that another game has already done your themes and your story, maybe go down a different path is all I'm saying. Now, they spent 7 minutes, 30 seconds on this. It was all not that great. They showed some enemies. There was pirates, undead. There was a corrupt woman with red eyes, a siren queen who was bleeding from her eyes. There was demons, demon dogs, and zombies. We've all seen these enemies before. None of them are that original. They're not new. They're just ideas reformed together. Now, I will say that the environments look awesome. The graphics look amazing, and it's definitely a strong point of the game. But the characters and the plot and the lore, very generic. But it's not a deal breaker for me, like I said before. That's not what I'm concerned about. If I'd seen that, I would have been like, oh, okay, but I'll wait to see more of the game. What I want to see is the combat. What you do for most of the game. The combat's got to be good. The combat of this game is what interests me about it. It looks very unique. And then I'm interested in how much you're going to charge me to play it, and what are you going to charge me after I've already bought it. Those are the big deals for me, and those are what we reach next. Now, they've spent 7 minutes 30 on the most generic lore you've ever seen in your life. How long do you think they've spent on combat? The thing you do the most for the most time, and is also the most interesting.
Skill-based, action-oriented combat. In New World, your positioning, timing, and aim all make a difference. And our classless combat system means the weapons you choose will define your playstyle, using which abilities you want to specialize in. At launch, we'll have 11 weapon types, so New World offers a great mix of melee weapons, ranged weapons, and magic weapons. I hope you've enjoyed getting a closer look.
That was it! 50 seconds! 50 seconds they spent on combat, the thing that you will do all the time! And if you're thinking, no, there's no way, there's absolutely no way that is all they said about combat, you're correct! They also spent 24 seconds on this.
Expeditions are designed for groups of 5 players. Teamwork will be required to have a healer and a tank and some friends to quickly dispatch the enemies.
No shit, Sherlock.
And don't worry, New World still has all the PvP duel, 20v20 outpost rush, 50v50 war, combat in the open world.
That last bit was 20 seconds. The man talking about the combat and the PvP, the core component of your game, spent less than 2 minutes on screen. 2 minutes on a deep dive. And the thing is, I like what he talked about. I like the open world. I like the big combat. I like castle sieges. I love the whole idea that we might actually get back to some skill-based combat in MMO, that actually timing might matter. This is all awesome, and you told me nothing. I mean, seriously. And even this, if you'd ended it here, if you'd stopped the video, I would have just gone, well, you didn't really tell me anything, but your game looks cool, the combat looks good, your environments are good, and your lore's generic, but okay, I can see past it. I just want more information. But you didn't stop there, did you? Oh, no. We've got to bring back the lead developer from the start, and he's going to do a Q&A, folks, and it's going to be good. Now, there's two answers for this. Either all the questions were pre-recorded, he knew what he was going to be asked, and he came up with the answers. And if that's true, that's really bad. But even if it isn't, even if this is a genuine interview with brand new questions that were just fired at him from the dark, and as this is pre-recorded, it means he signed off on this, and that means he thinks he answered these questions well. And I don't.
Jeff Keighley, and I am here at Amazon Games in Irvine with Scott. First, wanted to start by asking you, what has kept the team motivated through all these years?
It's a job. He gets paid. He needs to eat, or his family will starve. What kind of question is this? Next.
What are you hoping this game adds to the canon of MMO games?
Well, I think there's a few things. One, we're building this beautiful world, and I think our graphics.
Graphics?
Yeah.
My thoughts exactly, Jeff. Graphics are great. Your graphics look amazing. I'm not knocking your graphics. Your art department is top-notch. But it doesn't make a game. Mechanics make a game. Now, the next questions were a lot better, admittedly. They talk about the setting. He asked him what's changed since you last did the playtest. And they talk about how they changed the spawn system. They overhauled crafting. They lowered the amount of CC in combat and worked to differentiate the various different combat trees, all of which were complaints by players. This is good stuff. They mentioned how in PvP you can conquer territory, you can set tax rates to influence the world, and it's, in general, cool stuff. It's interesting information, and I wish there was more of it. There are some good ideas here, although it's just overly surface level in what is supposed to be a deep dive. But the thing is, none of these are the reasons why I made this type of video, and for that, it's definitely down to the next question.
Well, Scott, before we go, I have to ask you, the internet has certainly been talking about this game the past few weeks, in relation to the idea that, is it a pay-to-win game?
Yes, it is. You can literally buy XP passes so you can skip to the end. There are teleports around the world. This cash shop isn't just selling cosmetic items. This cash shop is selling things which will give you an advantage in the game. It is selling things which are direct game mechanics. You can buy actual in-game advantages with money. This is the definition of pay to win. And it's not just that, it also talks about the other monetization strategies that you're going to have. They don't just have a cash shop, you're going to buy the game. Then you're going to have season passes. Then you're going to have DLC. You're just going to have everything crammed at you. Every single monetization strategy they can add in, they are going to add in. They've said everything is on the table. It seems the only thing they haven't suggested is loot boxes, and that's probably because they're being made illegal in most countries at this point. And so with all of that in mind, with the receipts that I've already gathered before, the screenshots of their own interviews, they've admitted all of this before, it's not a secret. Let's see how he responds in this clearly placed question.
Well, we've tried to be as transparent as we can with the players.
Oh, you were very transparent. You told the players what you were going to do, and that was what caused the massive uproar in the first place. They hated it. The question has never been about transparency. The question is, what are you going to do now the players have told you that they don't like it?
And we continue to do that. So with that in mind, we're going out and we're building a game that has a very level playing field. That is super important to me. It's super important to the team. When we launch, we're only going to have cosmetics for sale in the store. Over the next, several years, the game is going to grow and grow and grow, and we're going to see where that takes us.
We are definitely going to make a level playing field at launch. Why are you doing the caveat at launch? The answer, as I explained in the other video, was because you're using weasel words. You are using caveats. We know they won't be in at launch, but you said you were going to add them later on. You are going to add cash shop advantages for players later on. Things like XP boosts, things like traveling around the world instantaneously. These sound like big advantages. If you are willing to add those, you are willing to add others. And yes, you can get away with going, well, we didn't add them at launch. No, and that makes it worse. Because a load of people who don't know about this are going to come in, they're going to invest time and money in your game, and then you are going to do a bait and switch and add all of these mechanics. And if those mechanics were there at launch, they may not have even started. One of the issues with MMOs is you invest so much time in your character that some people end up just accepting things they wouldn't because of the sunk time cost. And you're taking advantage of that, and you know you are. And you are trying to deliberately evade questions, deliberately not give information that players deserve, and you're either assuming that people are so ignorant that they won't know what you're talking about, and that no one will tell them and they won't look, and you're just hoping they buy your game without finding out any of this stuff. But then you also know that loads of other people know about this and they were already annoyed with it, and you just haven't addressed it at all. You've repeated exactly the same nonsense you did in the press release before, almost word for word. If it annoyed people before, how much more pissed off do you think people will be when you have actually said it twice? And the thing is, if other people didn't know what you've said before, if they didn't know what you were planning to sell, that might sound fine. And I'm sure you've got a load of new people who have watched this, and if they actually managed to stay awake till this part of the video, they may not know quite what you've said there, and you may have snuck it past them. But is that really what you should be trying to do? Should you be trying to sneak these tactics past players, or should you be proud of your creation? Should you actually be willing to go, look, this is what the game is, I like it, I agree with it, I made it, judge it on its own merits, here it is for you to judge? Or should you try and be manipulative and sneak things past the players and just hope they don't notice and hope they get too invested to actually stop when you add it? It really isn't a good look, and given your past history on games, you could have done with a good look. You could have done with a successful game. You could have got some reputation. If you'd made a great game, you would have got that reputation. And I hear this, and any last vestige of hope I have for you to ever make a good game dies. Do you not understand what you are doing when people see you do this? And I'm sure some people will be annoyed at my take, but it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they are selling game advantages in a cash shop, and some people might be fine with that, and I'm not. I'll accept things like DLC and expansion packs. I'll accept even cosmetic stores. I've been in MMOs before which had these kind of things. I stopped playing Arcade because it started selling these kind of things, and it ruins the game. I don't know why you thought this was a good idea. I really don't. I don't know how this could have gone through a marketing department who then decided to sign off on it and go, yeah, they'll definitely swallow that. At first I was bored, and then there was a spark of excitement that lasted for less than 2 minutes when you showed the combat screen, and then by the end, it's just a huge letdown. And to double down on something this bad is a bad look for any developer. At the end of the day, after this deep dive into the game, I'm done. I think I'm done with the game. My interest has died with the game. I can see where it's going. And if it lasts for years, in the future years that come, I can only assume that shop will expand and expand and expand. Because that's what the developer said that they were considering on doing. So with that, that's it from me. If you liked the video, press like. If you didn't, let me know why in the comments below. If you agree with me, what do you think of this game? Let me know. Hit the subscribe button for more videos in the future. Lots more E3 content coming up. There's going to be more streams on all the big stuff, all the big news over the weekends. It's all going to be here. So subscribe, like, hit the bell, and all the good stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.